Hello, and thank you for joining us on another ceasefire moment.
The thought of hunger and thirst show together in several scriptures. You can see most of them that are listed here. There's another outside one, and there's controversy, again, ceasefire moment, as to whether you should pay attention to things that have not been canonized in particular Bibles. The thing is that Jesus references several of these writings because at that time they would have been reading it and he used it. Paul uses it, Peter uses it, the Old Testament writers use it. Some of them are even specifically named. So these are outside texts that are referenced by the inside text. And in this case, there's an interesting statement in the book of Jasher. And any man who had hunger and came to Abraham's house, Abraham would give him bread that he might eat and drink and be satisfied. And anyone that came naked to his house, he would clothe with garments as he might choose, and give him silver and gold, and make known to him the Lord, who had created him in the earth. This did Abraham all his life. It's kind of interesting to have a little shot of what happened in Abraham's household, and it gives us something to think about. Do we do that? And I think that this is definitely something that the Jewish people would have thought of because it was about Abraham. Hunger and thirst is generally an unpleasant feeling and is not something chosen. It happens to you. Righteousness is right relationship between people, and active righteousness is something that you do to keep right relationship between two parties, being faithful. You notice that all is well in God's world and God is going to do something about it. So you just work to be in right standing with other people so that you can be in right standing with God. That was basically what Abraham was trying to do. When you are someone who is hungering and thirsting for righteousness, you would want to be in right standing with others. And the picture that these people would have had would have probably been in relation to that particular scripture, because they would have gone, oh, I see, right. Because if someone came to Abraham, they were filled, they were taken care of, they were given what they needed. And in this case, if I hunger and thirst for righteousness, is from the Greek word for justice or fairness. So you want to seek for right relationship and for being in right standing and fairness and justice with everyone. In Romans, it says, being made free of sin, we become the servants of righteousness. In Job, righteousness I have put on, and it clothed me as a robe and a diadem or turban, my justice. The opposite of righteousness is sin. Noah was seen as righteous. John the Baptist is seen as righteous. Hungry and thirsty and seeking after justice, fairness, not sinning, shall be filled. Later, Jesus will say his disciples' righteousness must exceed the religious leaders of that time. This brings us a flashback of Psalms 107, Isaiah 44, and Isaiah 55.
This concludes this episode of this ceasefire moment. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you learned something.